feeling left were against the movie, and the people feeling right were against the movie. But there are some people who really think they like the movie.
Did you work closely with the historical Minister of Finance? You worked with him on the script?
Yes, of course, with Varoufakis, absolutely.
No, you don't work. I don't think you listen.
Yes, well.
You did not work with Yanis.
No, I don't. Let me finish. I didn't work closely with him.
Yes.
At the beginning, I thought I could work closely with him because he knew everything about it. And then he told me, I wrote a book. I'm writing a book. I said, okay, I would like to read the book. And I read the book, and I was able, with the book, to do all the scenes taking place inside the unions, in the European Union, and I was able to take those dialogues. What he did, Varoufakis, when he was negotiating, very quickly he understood there was nothing to written. How do you call that?
Transcripts.
Transcript, that's right. There was no transcripts. So he opened his telephone and not the system, and he taped everything. And with his tapes, he was able to write his book, which is an extraordinary book. You can have it in English, and it's really a kind of great lesson. In England, they consider it as one of the best books on economy since ever. So among the 100 best books on economy.
I'm sorry, but mainly Costa listened hours and hours of tapes. So all the dialogue are from the tapes.
From the tape, so the dialogue is all
Yes.
true to life.
Yeah.
In a way, as you present the material, the title isn't quite accurate. Adults in the room. It should be adult in the room, because this character is the only character we're really rooting for. He's the hero. He's the adult. Nobody else really is.
No, in the room there's 3 people known about the economics. Him, Mrs. Lagarde, the lady, and the German Prime Minister of India. The others are just ministers, know very little about economies. You know, leaders of parties, they were named Minister of Economies without really knowing a lot about the economy, and particularly the world economy and also European economy.
Did you, Christos, did you get to know the historical figure you're playing?
Yeah.
Do you look like him at all?
Yes,
I've never seen a photo of him. Do you resemble him physically?
I don't think so.
No, he's much more beautiful.
Well, I got to know him just before we started shooting. We went to his house with Costa and Michèle, and we had dinner there. And well, I knew him as a person, as a political, being, as somebody who, he was always on TV, like all his crisis years, and I knew him. Everybody knows him.
Did you like him?
Well, I liked him. I very much admired him, and I liked him. I always thought that he was very, he knows what he's talking about. But I couldn't bear the fact that he worked with these guys, like the guy who Alexandros plays. So when I told him, when I told Costa and Michèle when we first met, I told them you should know that I never voted for Syriza, because I could see what was going on. But anyway, I very much admired Yanis, and I still do, and I like him as a person now that I've met him. This particular night when we were having dinner, and we were talking about stuff, and then everybody left, and I ended up with him drinking whiskey and speaking and talking about this period, this era, until 6 in the morning. So I was asking him so many questions. I was debating with him. I would question his remarks. I would question everybody's motives, and he would answer. He would be an adult who would answer to his younger colleague or whatever. He would explain to me what was going on, and you know, and because if you're from a distance, you can see it all as black and white, but it's very hard to remember that the truth is not black and white. So he really, you know, stirred up my curiosity about this era.
Was he embittered about what had happened to him?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And retain that set. Was the fashion in the film accurate? Did he dress different from everybody else? I love the shirts. The rebellious costumes. That's accurate?
There were much worse shirts.
It's also one of his problems he had after becoming minister. He used to go to the ministry and to Europe with that kind of wardrobe. And Greeks didn't like that. They would like to see, you know, stars and everything.
But that declared his independence.
Yeah, he was also going around with a motorcycle. So they used to hate him and became a kind of big problem for him because he was not very accepted.
No, at first they loved him.
Yes, but
some of them were commenting like, now what's he wearing? He can't go there with no tie. But most of Greeks loved the fact that he was wearing a leather jacket and he was riding a motorbike. But then in Greece, you know, the more we love somebody, in an instant we hate him.
The film is told. Now, speaking of that, Alexander, how was it to play a character you may not like? I don't like your character. How do you play a character? Did you like him or did you understand him?
If you didn't like it, maybe I did a good job. Oh yeah, that's.
But you're playing.
But
the
yes,
character we like. We don't like you. How do you play that character? Do you understand the character?
I try to understand his position, but one of the most exciting things about this character is mostly he listened. You know, I get advice from Kostas. You know, these guys, they listen a lot. Listen what Yannis said, what Angela said, what his other colleagues or whatever, the other ministers, and always listen. And whatever happens, even if it's something good or something bad, he doesn't have to show in his face. So that was very tempting for me as an actor.
Not to show, not to reveal.
He has not to reveal his emotion. Maybe in the end, maybe.
Yes, in the end.
He's very pressured, you know, after the referendum.
But until then, he's hard.
I tried to be in his shoes. What's it like to make decisions like this in one night, in 1 week, in only 6 months? If you didn't know, this party, Syriza, the party who won the elections, before the elections was what was the percentage of Syriza? Maybe 4 or 5%. In only 1 year and a half, maybe less, became 36. Can you imagine? It's the most what can I say about yeah, the fast forward party in all over Europe, all over the world, to become and form a government. That was very difficult. Anyhow, it was very difficult. I haven't got the chance like Christos to meet Alexis.
Oh, you did not meet him?
Never. I don't know if it's that good or bad, but...
do you resemble him at all, physically?
I don't know.
No, most of the actors
do not resemble?
I would like to add something. Yeah. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy, he's not a bad guy. For me, the movie is not made up by good and bad guys. He was a very young man who went to the power very quickly. He started with a small party, 4%, and 10 years or 11 years, he went up to run the country. He doesn't have so much experience. And I think also the Europeans betrayed him completely. They were very, very nasty with him. They were nasty, why? Because he was left-wing. They could not accept to give, to be favorite to a left-wing guy.
They brand the left-wing,
Absolutely.
demonize.
Absolutely.
Demonized.
Absolutely. He was representing a big part of the Greek society, the Greek people, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he tried everything he could do, but it was impossible to convince the Europeans, particularly for that reason, and also for other reasons, which would be very complex to explain to you today. For example, the Europeans didn't trust the Greek governments, left and right, because first they left that debt going up the way it went up. And they would like also to punish the Greeks for that, because for years, the Greek governments, I repeat, left and right, they were cheating with numbers. So these guys arrive, and he says, I'm a left-wing radical, and I would like this and this and that, without experience. And they say, no, we will give you nothing. So little by little, he becomes a bad guy, the guy who didn't succeed to obtain anything from the Europeans.
But he's not a bad guy.
Absolutely not. No, and especially he's not a bad guy. He represents something to even today, something how much? 35% of the people. Absolutely. He's an important, in my feeling, he's an important politician, which people trust him. Instead, what happened at the end? I mean, the big problem he had to accept what he accepted at the end, to promise something and to do the contrary, which he did also legally. He did very well. He was accepted because when he said to Europeans, "Yes, I accept to sign what has to be," he went to government to the representatives, and they say, "What I do?" And they vote. All of them they voted, 73%. And 2 months later, he did elections, and he won the elections. So legally, he was completely perfect,
Well,
but
you know,
ethically, he was not perfect. That's the problem.
you know what's going on with elections? To win the elections, you have to lie a lot.
Yes, they all win the elections by lying.
But
What I get good tensions.
It's good intention,
Like Costas.
but why this film, as I mentioned, is more than just about Greek politics. It seems to me an essay on politics and politicians in general, the way politics work. That's what the film's really about.